Try it yourself, using jQuery to access DOM objects. In this try-it-yourself exercise, we'll solidify our understanding of how jQuery selectors enable us to find and access DOM elements. We have 3 related solution files in the Hour7 folder. All of them have the name Hour0702. There's an HTML file, a JavaScript library, and a CSS file. Once you have your code in place, Hour7 folder, Hour0702 HTML, and then our appropriate CSS and JavaScript files in those subfolders, we'll render the page in a web browser immediately so you can see what the end result is. You'll notice that we have an unordered list of planets, and then we have 3 buttons on top that manipulate these DOM elements in various ways. For instance, even highlights the 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th. Odd does just the opposite, 2nd, 4th, 6th, etc. And first 4 selects only the first 4 elements. Now, how exactly does that work? Let's go back and investigate the source code. As usual, in the head element, we have script and link elements that load the jQuery, JavaScript, and CSS. Next, we have span elements that will be styled as buttons. Each span element contains a different on-click handler that allows us to run our dynamic script when clicked. A little bit lower in the page, you see the P and UL elements that give us our list of planets. If we look at our CSS file, relatively simple again. This is what gives us our button styling and the list header. Let's go over to our JavaScript file now, and we can view the event handlers for the span elements. The setEven JavaScript function is, again, an event handler. On line 2, we use jQuery to select all li and span elements and clear the CSS font weight value. Beginning on line 3, we add lines that define a variable named evenItems to the results of the selector that selects all of the li elements, and then filters the list to only those with an even index. Line 3 uses the evenItems variable to set the CSS font weight property of those items to bold. In line 5, again, jQuery comes to the rescue. We select all span elements that contain even in their contents and set CSS font weight to bold. In line 6, again, more jQuery. This time we select the elements with a class of label. To select the paragraph element, the HTML even part of the statement changes the inner HTML property of the selection to even, thus changing the heading. Finally, the other 2 event handlers, setOdd and setFirst4, basically do the same thing but for a different set of list items. And then, as we saw before, of course, when we render the page, we can click the different buttons and watch the button, heading, and list items change dynamically.